Walking down the street, the girl suddenly had memories of her past life, so she immediately ran to the home she had lived in during that previous life. And when Keisuke opened the door, she said to him that she was his wife. She even accurately said the names of Keisuke's wife and daughter. After entering the house, the little girl told them she was Takae, Keisuke's wife who had died 10 years ago. She didn't know why her soul had ended up inside this little girl's body either. At first, Keisuke and his daughter might thought she was joking. After all, something like this was impossible to believe. But as Takae began to reveal all the secrets that only their family knew, and every detail from when she and Keisuke were dating, Keisuke and his daughter finally believed that this little girl truly was Takae. Once Takae saw they believed her, she immediately switched into her wife and mother mode. She began scolding them. She complained that they never ate proper meals, and that they were eating convenience store bentos every single day. She never expected that after her death, both her husband and daughter would be living like lifeless shells. But what made her even angrier was that her daughter Mai was almost 30 and still didn't have a boyfriend. Right then, an alarm went off. It was time for Takae to return to the home she currently lived in. Before leaving, Takae told them that every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, she would bring them homemade bentos. Even though they could only see each other like this, Takae was still incredibly happy that she could meet her husband and daughter again. After saying this, Takae closed the door and left, but Keisuke couldn't hold back anymore. He hurriedly chased after her and wrapped his arms around Takae. Keisuke really, truly missed her. To him, his wife was everything. Growing old with her, seeing the world with her, those were the things that gave his life meaning. But Takae wasn't happy at all about this, because no one knows what life will throw at them. The most important thing is the courage to face reality, and Keisuke's downward spiral was affecting their daughter too. Deep inside, Takae hoped Keisuke could finally let go of her death. She wanted him to keep moving forward, even in a future where she no longer existed by his side. After all, the real identity of the current Takae was Marika, a child from another family. In the end, Takae told Keisuke to keep going, then left. The next day, Keisuke went to work like he had become a completely different person. He actually took the initiative to talk to his coworkers. This shocked everyone, because normally, he was always gloomy and withdrawn. At noon, on a bench in the park, Keisuke took out the bento that Takae had woken up early to prepare for him. It was a taste he hadn't experienced since the day his wife died. But just then, his coworker Yoshimi also came to the park to eat her lunch. Seeing how different Keisuke looked, Yoshimi asked if something good had happened to him lately. Keisuke simply said he once thought he had lost something utterly irreplaceable, but that emptiness had suddenly been filled again, and because of that, he suddenly felt like being alive was something worth looking forward to. The gentle Yoshimi felt happy hearing this, since she had never seen Keisuke smile before. As they talked, Keisuke learned that Yoshimi also made her own homemade bentos. He praised her for being capable, and he couldn't help but remember his wife waking up early every day to make bentos for him. Then Yoshimi suddenly asked whether Keisuke wanted to become bento buddies with her, meaning they could eat lunch together from now on. Keisuke agreed, saying he would be there on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Later that afternoon, Keisuke bought Takae's cell phone, but when Takae complained that her hands were too small, Keisuke couldn't help secretly taking a picture of her, because he wanted to use Takae's photo as his phone's wallpaper. Right then, Mai came home. When Takae saw her daughter, wearing formal clothes and ready to head out for work, her heart filled with pride and relief, because their lives had finally stepped out of the darkness. Ever since Takae reappeared in this family, her husband and daughter had come back to life again, full of energy and spirit. Today was Friday. Keisuke didn't expect that Takae had made him lunch again. It turned out she happened to be free today, and there were a lot of leftover ingredients from dinner, so she made him an extra bento. But what Keisuke didn't expect was that Yoshimi had made 2 bentos today. Planning to give one to him, Keisuke didn't want to reject her kindness, so he decided to eat the one she made at noon. As dusk approached, Takae passed by the park and saw Keisuke. He was eating the bento she made for him, so Takae asked why he hadn't eaten it earlier at lunchtime. Keisuke had no choice but to explain the situation with Yoshimi. The moment Takae learned that Yoshimi was in her 20s and unmarried, she knew Yoshimi had feelings for Keisuke, but Takae also understood that Keisuke was incredibly slow when it came to things like this, so she didn't say much about it. But more importantly, Takae wanted to know why Keisuke was sitting alone in the park at this hour eating a cold bento. To Keisuke, this was a bento his wife had made just for him. He didn't want to waste even a bit of her care, but what made Keisuke feel regret was that he couldn't go around telling people that this was a love-filled bento made by his wife. Takae immediately warned him not to tell anyone she was his wife, otherwise people would think he was a creep. Takae couldn't understand why Keisuke kept forgetting the reality of the situation. That was because 10 years ago, he had truly learned the pain of losing his wife. So when she appeared again in front of him, he felt it was something heaven had arranged, which was why Keisuke treasured every moment he could spend with Takae now. Even a single minute or second, Takae didn't know what to say, because she understood her husband's personality all too well, and also because he loved her far, far too much. That day, for the first time in 10 years, the three of them visited the aquarium together. To Keisuke, it felt like a dream. He wished this kind of life could last forever. However, no matter how happy the time they spent together was, they still had to return to their separate homes in the end. What Keisuke didn't know was that Takae's current parents were already divorced, maybe because she had regained memories of her past life. She couldn't remember the reason behind their divorce, but Takae didn't dare go home and face her mother, Shika. She had come back far too late today. Shika questioned her, demanding to know where she had been. Takae admitted she had gone to the aquarium. Shika asked her where she got the money. She explained it was her allowance she had saved up. Shika became furious. She thought Takae was lying again. So, Shika demanded she hand over all the money she had left, and then she barged into her room to search through everything. Takae panicked that her mom might find the phone Keisuke had given her. She tried to stop her, but Shika shoved her hard to the floor. But right at that moment, Shika's phone suddenly rang. Afterward, Takae began doubting whether she should keep going to Keisuke's home, but she didn't know that at this very moment Keisuke was planning to take her and Mai out again during summer vacation. When Takae received his message, she didn't know how to respond. Then she suddenly heard her mother on the phone saying she would be traveling soon. So Takae told Keisuke that she would be free on July 28th, but she had forgotten that July 28th was her birthday in her previous life. Thinking back on everything that had happened recently, she remembered how she had passed by Keisuke's house one day, just wanting to take a quick look, but she saw Keisuke devastated by her death. Unable to recover for years, she couldn't bear to watch her husband live in such misery. That was why she appeared to him again. But now, Shika was her real family. If her connection with Keisuke ever came to light, it would bring huge trouble into his life. So Takae planned to explain everything clearly the next time they met. She decided that after that, she would stop seeing Keisuke entirely. But when the day finally came, Takae couldn't bring herself to say the words. Keisuke also noticed that something was weighing on her mind, so he suggested playing games together. And just like that, the three of them spent another joyful day as a family. In the end, Takae still couldn't bring herself to say what she wanted to. Whenever she thought of the warmth she felt while being reunited with them, she couldn't help growing dependent on them. But to avoid causing Keisuke any more trouble, she knew she had to speak up. Right then, the lights suddenly went out. Mai came out carrying a birthday cake, celebrating her birthday. Only then did Takae remember it was her birthday from her previous life. Even after 10 whole years, her husband and daughter had never forgotten her birthday. Takae was overwhelmed with emotion. She ran to the bathroom to secretly wipe away her tears. Keisuke guessed that Takae must also have worries of her own. Their situation was far too complicated. Keisuke knew his wife well. She had always been strong. Even when she had problems, she would never talk to anyone about them. All they could do was what they used to do their very best to give her happy days. When Takae came out of the bathroom, she thanked her husband and daughter. She thanked them for giving her such an unforgettable day. But Mai, with tears streaming down her face, said that she was the one who should be grateful, because she had been given the chance to celebrate her mother's birthday again. And before they knew it, all three of them were crying together. In the end, Takae still couldn't say the words she had intended to say. She wanted to live together with them. She felt like they were her son. She couldn't survive without them. Even if staying with them wasn't the right choice, she didn't care. As long as she could continue being with them, that was enough. A few days later, Keisuke and Takae celebrated together because Mai had finally found a new job. But because of this, Mai might not be able to attend the upcoming fireworks festival. This made Keisuke remember the last time the three of them watched fireworks together. Even after it was over, Mai cried, refusing to go home. Mai suggested her parents could go together this time, but that day, Takai's current mom would be home, so she couldn't go. Soon, the day of the fireworks festival arrived. Mai, exhausted from her new job, called her mother asking for comfort. The thought of having to meet with clients made her anxious. Takae knew her daughter's personality. She always struggled with new environments in the beginning, so Takae suggested watching the fireworks together, hoping it would ease Mai's anxiety. And fortunately, Chika had plans that night and wouldn't be home. Meanwhile, Keisuke had no idea that his wife and daughter would also be at the fireworks festival. He planned to go alone, but he happened to run into Yoshimi and her friend Miki. When Miki learned that Keisuke was the person Yoshimi talked about so often, she immediately invited him to join them for the festival. When they arrived at the festival grounds, Keisuke spotted Takae in the crowd. He was overjoyed. He believed it had to be fate. At that moment, the fireworks festival began. Keisuke felt happiness wash over him because he could watch the fireworks with his family again. Takae suddenly reached out and held Keisuke's hand. It felt as if the two of them had returned to the past, but this rare warm moment was suddenly interrupted by Yoshimi. Yoshimi curiously asked who Takae was. Keisuke was just about to say she was his wife, but Takae quickly stopped him. Takae lied and said she was Keisuke's niece. Keisuke then told Takae that Yoshimi was the one who had given him the bento last time. Takae was stunned. She never expected that the girl who liked Keisuke would be such a young and beautiful woman. As they spent more time together, Takae couldn't help quietly observing Yoshimi. From watching her, she realized Yoshimi was incredibly gentle and considerate. She felt Keisuke was very lucky to have such a good girl like him. Maybe it wasn't a thought a wife should have, but Takae couldn't help thinking this might actually be a good thing. When it was time to meet Mai, Takae left temporarily to go pick her up. Seeing that Keisuke's daughter was coming, Yoshimi tried to stand up to greet her, and this scene happened to be witnessed by Mai. Mai clearly misunderstood their relationship. She turned around angrily and walked away. Takae saw this and hurriedly chased after her. After this misunderstanding, none of them felt like watching the fireworks anymore. When Keisuke got home, he asked his daughter why she had suddenly left, but Mai asked him what kind of relationship he had with Yoshimi. Keisuke explained that he and Yoshimi had only gotten closer recently, because they often ate lunch together, so they were now just pretty good friends. Hearing that, Mai walked off angrily again. Even now, Keisuke still didn't understand why Mai was so upset. Takae could only helplessly explain everything to him. After hearing it, Keisuke quickly apologized. He never expected the situation would cause Mai such a huge misunderstanding, but this also showed that, to them, Mai was still the same little girl from 10 years ago. Seeing how strongly Mai rejected the idea of her father getting close to another woman, Takae felt deeply guilty, because her death had caused her husband and daughter's lives to remain frozen for 10 years. But precisely because of that, she now hoped Keisuke would focus on taking care of their daughter. That way, Mai might eventually accept a new family structure. Later, she went to Mai's room. Mai apologized for her earlier attitude, but Yoshimi was really young and beautiful. Mai worried that if Keisuke kept spending time with her, he might fall in love with Yoshimi. Takae reminded Mai that legally, Keisuke was single now, and she herself was prepared for the possibility that Keisuke might fall in love with someone else. Even if Keisuke ended up with another woman, she was willing to accept it. But Mai didn't feel the same way. She hoped the miracle that reunited their family could last forever. At that moment, Keisuke asked both of them to come to the living room. Then he took out a marriage registration form he had written by hand. Even if they could never become a legal couple again, he hoped that through this marriage registration form, the three of them could affirm that they were a family. Although even without this paper, the three of them would still see each other as family in their hearts. Their current situation was far too complicated. Certain things might happen that could shake their hearts. So Keisuke felt that this marriage registration form was very important for them. He apologized to Mai. During the 10 years when Takae was gone, he had never fulfilled his responsibilities as a father. If he had been stronger back then, maybe Mai would have come out of her grief sooner and returned to being the cheerful girl she once was. Mai didn't blame Keisuke at all, because she knew very well that after her mother died, the one who suffered the most was her father. Keisuke admitted that over the past 10 years many people had encouraged him to remarry, but his longing for Takae never faded, and it never would. Finally, with Mai as the witness, Takae wrote her name on the marriage registration form. Life is made up of countless ordinary moments, and the companionship we overlook, the nagging we dislike, the routines we take for granted, they only become precious after they're gone. This story reminds us that partings may be inevitable, but love and appreciation can cross the boundaries of time. May we all embrace the people beside us while we still can. Cherish every ordinary day, and let regrets fade while warmth grows.